Regina joined us about 2 years ago, and let me tell you, one of the chairman's 2 missions are to find a great staff and get out of her way, and that's what I do. And what I'd like to do is give Regina a symbolic, we've got a shovel. And Regina, sometimes you shovel good things away, and sometimes you shovel fertile ground. I hope we can use the shovel for that. But let me introduce to you Regina Nobles, the Executive Director of DSC.
Myself in the head, but Mayor, you wanted to have just.
Yeah, I want to recognize. I mentioned one, but I recognize another one because Phil appropriately said the city of Dallas is an important part. And Dave Newman is here. Dave is the council member of West Dallas. Dave. I had a chance to work with Dave over the last 2 years, and I can tell you he's passionately committed to West Dallas. But on top of that, he's been an important part of seeing the Trinity River Corridor project go together. So the combination of those 2 things makes him a key player and makes an important contribution. And Dave, we just appreciate that. And then I also mentioned Jerry Killingsworth. Jerry, where are you? I'm losing you right. There you are. Jerry, could you stand up? Jerry heads up our housing, as I mentioned. And he's got 240 homes that are part of the land bank. We're continuing to foreclose to get a slow economy. We hope that that will continue to build up and becomes that base that we grow. So, Dave, I just want to recognize you. Thanks for what you do. And Jerry, we appreciate your commitment on the house. Appreciate it.
I want to start this morning by recognizing how incredible it is that we're all here. We started out with the concept of this breakfast with the idea that we might have 3 or 4 tables. And the more we talked, the more we had people saying, well, you got to have so-and-so, you got to have so-and-so. And what we found out is that there's an incredibly committed crowd of people that are concerned about education in Dallas, are looking for solutions, and recognize that for our city to grow, we have to solve the education issue. So I want to start by recognizing some of the people that are here. First off, if you are a member of a not-for-profit or a business or an organization that's working in West Dallas, would you stand up? If you're a member of the coalition, which is the West Dallas Housing, I say so much, the West Dallas Education Task Force, would you stand? And if you are here from SMU, we'd also like to have you stand, please. So you can see that we have a pretty mighty army of people. The challenges ahead of us are terrific, but that we have incredibly smart and committed people working with us. So I want to just quickly give you a little background on the Education Task Force and how it came about. In late October, there were 4 or 5 of us that started a meeting just thinking about Pinkston High School. And it quickly became clear that you can't address the issues of Pinkston without addressing the entire community. You have to be looking at the kindergartners and at their families and at the streets that they walk on in order to have substantive change in Pinkston. And I want to recognize that while Pinkston gets the most attention as the most challenged, and it has still, as the mayor alluded to, significant dropout issues, it's also got some amazing things happening in small pockets. The kids at Pinkston brought in $3.2 million in scholarships this year, which is, when you consider the backgrounds that they come from, pretty astounding. Pinkston won for the first time ever the regional drama competition for a 1-act play. They won. This one will blow your mind. For 4A schools, they won both golf and tennis, which go figure. And later in the early summer, there'll be a beautiful drawing on the side of all the buses that was produced by a Pinkston student. So, you go in and it looks like a tough place, and then you hear the stats and they are tough, but we recognize that there's also some great things going on, and I would much prefer to build on the strengths that we have and the fantastic things that are happening than constantly remind people that it's terrible. The principal there pointed out to me that it's really hard for her to get the students pumped up about being in school when all they ever hear is what a terrible school it is. So we want to not be blind or silly about the challenges. We We want to recognize that those are things we have to face, but we also want to recognize the people that are there and what they're doing on an individual basis. So as we began to think about Pinkston, began to think about the larger community, we also began to attract other people to us. And you saw how many people stood up when we talked about who the task force members were. So we've gradually created this very inclusive, very open group of people who were all concerned about education in West Dallas. We began to go out from our group and say what resources are available to us, where, like Indianapolis, have they done incredible things that we can learn from. And today is our party where we come out and share that the task force exists. We had a wonderful article yesterday in the paper. We're thrilled, and we're thrilled to welcome, and I'm going to introduce Dean Chard, I don't want to say new members because SMU has been involved since the very start. They were probably the second group to come to the table after the educators in West Dallas. But they have been wonderful, thoughtful partners to us, and I'd like to introduce Dean Chard for just a few words.